Welcome back, Bad Day HQers. Today we're exploring some of the world's worst floods. We've already done a top 10 tsunamis list, so this list won't include those or other impacts of earthquakes. In the UK alone, flood defences and management cost around £2.2 billion each year. Recently, China faced a bill of £20 billion after their worst flooding since 1998. This is a massive topic, so let us know if we've missed any information, and don't forget to subscribe if you're new here. Number 10. The Netherlands, 1212. To kick off, we're going back 800 years with a huge flood in the Netherlands. The area is prone to flooding, as the entire country was formed by rivers and estuaries from the North Sea. In June 1212, disaster struck, with flooding that lasted over 5 months. Riverbanks collapsed and large swathes of farmland were submerged, causing irreparable damage to properties and infrastructure. Estimates claim about 60,000 lives were lost as a result of the immediate flooding. Number 9. St. Lucia's Flood, 1287. St. Lucia was a storm tide that affected the Netherlands and northern Germany in December 1287. An intense windstorm gathering power and momentum in the North Sea arrived on the continent. This coincided with unusually high tides, leading to a sudden storm surge in the region. The flooding this caused destroyed all villages between the sea and inland Amsterdam, resulting in 50,000 to 80,000 deaths. Amsterdam, a small village at the time, had permanently become a coastal settlement, beginning the development of the city we know today. Number 8. Red River, Vietnam, 1971. The Red River runs from the Pacific to the capital of Vietnam, Hanoi, and on August 1st, torrential rains and intense storms overwhelmed the dike system, which regulated the water levels. The area is not far above sea level, so the flooding that ensued wiped out vast amounts of land, killing an estimated 100,000 locals. The Red River Delta is well known for being a serious floodplain and continues to endure flooding today. Few details about this disaster were made available at the time, as the country was still engulfed in war with the US. Number 7. Yangtze and Huai Flood, 1911. The Yangtze River is known as the longest river in all Asia and the third longest river on the globe. It is 3,917 miles long and is the primary source of irrigation and transportation around mainland China, which is largely low-ground floodplains. Unfortunately, it is not uncommon for the Yangtze to burst its banks, and in 1911, that's exactly what happened. Both the Yangtze and the Huai rivers overflowed simultaneously, and the resulting flood is estimated to have claimed well over 100,000 lives. However, the exact total is probably far higher. Number 6. St. Felix's Flood, 1530. On the 5th of November 1530, on St. Felix's Day, the city of Reimerswaal was destroyed by the biggest flood Europe has ever seen. Today, the city is completely lost, and the day of the flood is marked as Evil Saturday in Dutch history. Also caught in the flooding were large parts of Zeeland and Flanders. In total, the event killed an estimated 120,000 people. Number 5. Yangtze River, 1935. The 1930s in China were notorious for flooding, and 35 was no different. The 5th worst flood in human history happened around July 6, 1935. Heavy rainfall in the early summer caused the Yangtze River to overflow, and the flood completely consumed the city of Changfan, as well as many other towns. The country was still recovering from intense flooding in 1931 and was not prepared for another of this scale so soon. The event displaced millions, creating food shortages and mass homelessness. It is suspected around 145,000 died. Number 4. Typhoon Nina, 1975. Typhoon Nina, which began in the Pacific near the Philippines, is the fourth deadliest tropical cyclone on record. It moved swiftly onto mainland China, triggering a dam collapse in Banqiao in the Henan province. The collapse of the dam caused a string of heavy floods, and like dominoes, more and more dams collapsed, and in 24 hours, more rain fell on the region than in one average year. It is speculated 229,000 people died after the storm. Number 3. Yellow River, 1938. The Yellow River flood of 1938 was a flood created by the nationalist Chinese government in the latest stages of the Second Sino-Japanese War. It was done in an attempt to halt the rapid advancement of Japanese troops into China, and some refer to it as the biggest act of environmental warfare in history. The levees of the Yellow River near Huai was destroyed by the Chinese on the 5th of June 1938, and the following flood covered thousands of square kilometers of farmland. Unexpectedly, the flood moved south, and thousands of towns and villages were engulfed. The Japanese advance was halted, but at great cost. Almost all the victims were Chinese, and nearly 900,000 citizens died. Number 2. Yellow River, 1887. In 1887, the Yellow River was also previously the culprit of a formidable disaster. One of the reasons the river is so dangerous is the silt buildup on its banks, which can be easily dislodged and carried downstream. The river is slightly elevated above the surrounding countryside, and, despite the danger, populations are drawn to the region for its excellent irrigation and healthy crop yields. The river burst its banks and killed between 900,000 and 2 million people. Vast swathes of agricultural land and even entire towns were completely destroyed. Number 1. 1931. China floods. Alluded to earlier in the video, this is the deadliest flood in recorded history. After 2 long years of drought, followed by heavy snowstorms and even mightier rains, very high storm and cyclone activity caused 3 of China's biggest rivers, the Yangtze, the Yellow, and the Huai, to flow well above their maximum limits. The devastating flood destroyed huge swathes of farmland, creating a long famine, and brought disease such as dysentery and typhoid to the masses. Fatality estimates vary wildly, but the official report stands at 140,000 dying of the immediate flooding, with a further 2 million deaths occurring during the flood by drowning or starving. The event caused a cholera epidemic, and it is popularly estimated that the disaster led to 2 to 4 million deaths. Thanks for watching. Did we miss any? Let us know in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe to Bad Day HQ.